This is Secrets to Win Big, brought to you by Arjun Sen, an acclaimed brand zen with over 30 years of global impact, who has been called one of the most business intelligent minds. His never give up journey in life and business inspired the global blockbuster movie by Shujit Sircar, I Want to Talk. Find him at www.arjunsen.com. And now, here is your host, Arjun Sen.
Welcome to Secrets to Win Big with Arjun Sen. Today, it's my pleasure and honor to have a conversation with my VIP guest, Vivek Bahl. Vivek is a social media genius who has been running his own social media marketing agency since 2011. Before that, he was the creative director at Shell & Denshu and also worked with Gray, besides being the brand team for Times of India, and also was the head of marketing at PVR Cinemas, one of India's largest theatre chains. He launched India's first talent-based social network in the fields of modeling, fashion photography, and Bollywood dancing. Welcome to Secrets to Win Big, Vivek Bahl.
Thank you.
So, Vivek, I just have to go back to the moment I realized I have to have a conversation with you.
Okay.
Social media, to me, is one of the most misused and misunderstood tools because most people focus on the word media. They right away think everything we are doing elsewhere is just like instead of TV, can we bring it to radio, remove the video part and keep the audio, it becomes a radio ad. Not really. Each has a different language. And I always thought that social media is about being social and media could be the process. And as we started our conversation, you had shared two lines with me. The first one was, Arjun likes to talk. But the second line was, who wants to listen and why? I'm paraphrasing a little bit, but that really helped me understand that is what social to me is. And that was the day I really realized that I really needed to talk to Vivek.
Okay.
So Vivek, before we get into some deeper questions, I want to understand about quitting, unquitting, and everything else. I want to understand a little bit about social media, your passion, and what got you into social media and what drives you there.
Yeah. So this was actually the year was 2007. And I had just started working for a company called ibibo.com, which is now become Go Ibibo. It's become a travel site for booking tickets, etc. At that time, it was introduced in the country by the parent company Naspers from South Africa, with the intention of setting up India's first homegrown social media network. Like an Orkut. Orkut was very big at that time, but it had become a little nefarious. So they wanted to create this homegrown network. And I had this come in completely, blind. I mean, I was not on Orkut. I'd heard about it. I'd obviously heard the negative things more than I'd heard anything else. So I came in completely cold. But, what excited me was the fact that it's a new form of communication, and what was, obviously all this sounds very dated now, but at that time, and it's only 2007, it's not like a century ago. At that time, it was always, you were able to communicate from one to many, as in it was TV, it was radio, it was more a broadcast. Now, what this gave you the power was to communicate one to one. Of course, the problems we faced in 2007 was that there was very poor internet connectivity. The metros, when I talk about metros, the big cities of India, we could just about, get a good connection going, but beyond the main cities, getting into the hinterland, it was zero. It was very, very difficult to even get a proper connection. So that was, but that was the sign, that was the way things were. So it was not something which is only affecting us at IBBO, it was affecting everybody who wanted to be in that, be the first mover in the internet space. So coming back to, the whole thing of social media, so that's what triggered my interest that, this can be a one-to-one communication. And for the first time, an individual is empowered, to come from a position of broadcasting themselves. It's like the YouTube, a sign off is broadcast yourself, which is so apt for YouTube. And YouTube has really honed it well and, really given their partners that platform to really broadcast themselves. But in 2007, it was very new. So that's what interested me, and that's what got triggered my interest basically.
Yeah, the thing that I'm taking from this part is that one-on-one conversation. Okay, like earlier, TV and everything was the person with lot of dollars, lot of rupees, screams from the highest platform, and only control I have is change the channel, lower the volume, or go to the restroom and come back. Now it has, as you're talking about, is tiny Arjun living in one corner of Houston feels empowered to broadcast. And whoever will listen one person at a time. And that one-to-one is the big thing that was missing. So Vivek, in these amazing years, 2007 onwards, then 2011, you start your company. A lot of big accomplishments. What are one or two of your career moments? It doesn't have to be big financial success, just what you're most proud of that you want to celebrate right here.
See, I would say, it's just that right from when I started my career, I just, found my own path. So I wasn't aspiring to be this, that, or the other. I just wanted, I changed direction. I changed, like, what's the word? I moved from one field to another, but it's something which I did, So at the end of the day, whatever, somebody else may say, yes, you've accomplished this or you've not accomplished this. For me, it was something I chose. And to me, that has been always, the way to, quantify success for me, that I chose it.
As you do that, of course, on one side is the excitement for something new. But for all of us, as we start getting older, we have financial needs, we have a lot of commitments. Changing also means taking the risk. How do you always balance, as you have moved in this journey of finding your own path, to give up on what you have to move to the next one?
I think it's just something which happened internally. There was, you can call it an inner voice or an inner confidence which made me do things. Like, when I first started my career in advertising, I was the oldest trainee copywriter, at 29. So, and when I would tell people that I've just started copywriting and I'm a trainee writer, I couldn't care less about the reaction. So for me, it was something within me which made me kind of feel sure that, yes, this is what I need to do at this moment in time. So yes, of course, like you said, there are financial parameters and other things to be discussed, but that inner voice to me always led.
Mm-hmm. I love that. And a lot of us have the inner voice. And as we go older, we suppress that to the point where we get to a point where the voice is speaking, but it's sort of mute voice. We don't even hear that. So I really appreciate you reminding us, listen to the inner voice. In this journey, based on my book, Unquit Forever, I really want to understand more about people's journey, how they face challenges. What have been some of the biggest challenges you have faced that made you feel like, what, I want to quit?
See, it's always been, this thing of feeling unfulfilled, as an individual. So I've chosen a path, but then after a certain point in time, I realized that, oh, this is where I'm falling short, and it's just me. It's not about who I was reporting to at that time or what was the, the kind of work I was doing. It's nothing to do. It's just something within me which told me, listen, this is, you could, if you did this, you could do better. So that is something which has always, made me fall in that unquit space, because there's always something which I want to fulfill. So it's become a positive than a negative.
As you're talking about this reminds me of one of the top golfers ever. In a conversation, when I asked him, how does he push himself in a competition? He reminded me, in a competition, he only competes with one person, himself. He right away told me that everybody is there for me to appreciate. Everybody is there to create the background. I play my best. If somebody plays better to win that day, good for that person. I cheer for that person. And at no point I am rooting on the last hole, the person to miss the putt for me to win. Like that to me was so important for me to start thinking about. Like I'm watching cricket and the only way, let's say, India can win is last ball. The other bowler bowls a no ball and we hit a six. No, he said, don't. The moment you do that, you're taking away from yourself, your ability. And I think that whole core of my journey, competing with myself, listening to your inner voice, when you're unfulfilled, doing something about it is really, really powerful.
Right. I'll just like to add to that, when you talk about this particular golfer, so for me, how I interpret it is I play for myself.
Mhm.
So I'm not here to win every time, but I just, it's something which, which makes me feel good about myself, feel more accomplished. But that's to me. I'm not looking at, external parameters to dictate where I am and where I want to be. So I'll just like to add.
But why can't that be the definition of a win? Like
Yeah.
the
I mean,
definition of a win could be that every moment I'm in touch with myself,
right.
I feel good, and doesn't matter what the scoreboard says. Like the scoreboard could say Vivek 22, Arjun 0, but Arjun is having a blast playing this
Yeah,
game today with Vivek, and that could
absolutely.
be the win. So that is there.
Absolutely.
Yep. So you talked about a lot of unquit moments in your life. Is there one unquit moment that really you're proud of the most, that drives you? Because once you have gone through that, anything else is piece of cake.
Right. I think it just comes down to 2009, 2010, when I quit working for a company and I chose to, do my own thing, which is set up my own company, start to specialize in social media marketing. So that thing of completely owning what I was doing end to end, was something which has till date has given me the most joy, from a professional perspective.
I love that, because in a corporate world, you own a piece,
Yeah.
or you're leasing a piece. Some of the time, you don't even have control on the piece. From there, in your journey now, for an entrepreneur, you own end to end, and that's total control, total fulfillment, total fun. That's huge.
Right. Absolutely.
So I want to now change the conversation to Vivek. Let's say tomorrow you get an invite and you are going to meet 100-year-old Vivek. And first thing is you have to choose the place. Like this is a once in a lifetime amazing moment. First is, where will this conversation happen? And secondly, what would the conversation between you and 100-year-old Vivek will be? First place.
Place, I think it'll be probably maybe a small European village where there are no cars. Somewhere where it's not deadly silent, but it is quiet. There's a charm to that setting, and there's no that whole city. So it's not isolation, but it's just something which is like cobbled paths and a nice setting. So that would be the setting. And what I would say is, first I would kind of just do a high five and say, hey, what a journey, and I would actually ask instead of tell first, is that what are you planning next? Because that's the mode I've always been in. So whether it's the 18-year-old Vivek or whether it's the 25-year-old Vivek, and so on and so forth, it's always been what do I want to do next? So I'm not going to as a 100-year-old, metaphorically speaking, reflect on, oh, I did this when I was this and I was, no, what do I want to do now? So I'll be most curious to see what is my state of mind at that age and what do I want to do next.
And that's a very unique perspective, because I've asked this question hundreds of times. And of course, this is a question, there's no right answer, no wrong answer, it's a perspective. But most of the time, people want to learn from the 100-year-old. People want a reflection back from the 100-year-old. They want to understand about the regrets of that 100-year-old. But this is the first time I'm hearing about you asking the 100-year-old, come on, what's the next thing you will do? Like, that is the excitement I really connects to your journey as you want to move forward. So Vivek, this is a very fascinating conversation. Is there anything you want to add that we have not talked about?
To this, I think just coming into this whole 100-year-old thing, or talking to somebody older than my current age, and it just, reinforcing to my mind that I do not look back and look at regrets, and that's just a personal choice. Yes, people come and tell me, oh, you could have done this, and by people I mean, close people. I'm not talking about some random person, but I always kind of say, how I express it is, I'm very fond of movies, see a lot of movies, and sometimes you're seeing a film set in the 1800s, sometimes you're seeing a film set in like a Dune, which is set way into the future. And what you realize is that the emotions remain the same, like a Shakespearean play. It's still relevant. So an 18-year-old may have accomplished a lot, but to me, as an individual now in 2025, it means nothing. Yes, maybe through that person's initiatives, my life has become better, etc., etc. But to me, individually, it means nothing. So here, I feel that this is just for me, I'm not sermonizing, is that, this overthinking and over putting yourself and your thought process on a pedestal saying, I, me, myself, I think is too overrated. I think all of us, and again, this is again my opinion, is that we are here living this life for a period in time. How we are considered 5 years later, 100 years later, will have no consequence to, how we're living our life right now. So I think just from that prism, rather than just, maybe just thinking too much about yourself, just a, perspective.
There's a balance there. On one side, as you're talking about the perspective, the second, I also feel, because it's our individual journey, for me at least, I listen to others, but I don't let others judge me. I listen to why they feel that way. And of course, I'm not a jerk. If I hurt somebody's feelings, I could do differently. I could only do it in the past, in the future. So I put a very simple rule for myself that I will only go back to past for two reasons. One, to find things to celebrate. And second, get learning from. Okay, I will never go back to Arjun yesterday by saying, dude, you should have done that. No, yesterday, my intent was good. My effort was there. Could I have done something differently? Of course. But knowingly, we never take the right or wrong path. Like at home, if you're supposed to go right, intentionally, you would not take left to get lost. Okay, it happened. And so that is the balance, as you were talking about, is especially at the very beginning, when you talked about what I do, find my path, like that, taking that ownership, to me also pushes me that being kind to myself and not let others judge me.
Right.
So Vivek, this has been a great conversation. You were very kind to answer every question I asked. It's only fair. Do you have any questions for me?
Oh yeah, lots. I mean, the one which is what triggered, our first conversation was when I saw, the movie which is based on you, I Want to Talk, and when I wrote about it, and I, normally do write my feelings about a film after I've seen it. What struck to me was the end where you appeared on screen, because right before that was your story being expressed and being, captured through the lens of Sujit Sarkar, the director, and enacted by Abhishek Bachchan, the actor. But when I saw you on screen, for that last maybe 2 minutes, 3 minutes, and I saw that energy, and I saw that, that which I later discovered was the unquit aspect of it, because I didn't, relate that term to you at that moment in time, just seeing the film. That's just kind of, opened up the whole thing. So I'm just, would want to know that where does that enthusiasm, where does that, that thing of that, anything and everything is on the side, but unquit for me is what my life is. Where does that come from within you? How do you put it in words?
Let me answer it in two parts. Let me first talk about the last scene of the movie. So this being Shujit's movie and me trusting him blindly with some boundaries, I told him, you do what you want. I will never critique or anything because I'm nobody to critique. Shujit has made movies, I've made zero. But I really did not like the ending initially, where I was supposed to speak like a Deepak Chopra on a big screen, big stage. But with Shujit, I said, with prompting, I do that. So we were on a golf course. Abhishek and myself, from early morning, we were going into every micro details. He is like a perfectionist to the point where I even showed him, before you putt, you take the gloves, this is the way it should hang outside with the gloves down. As you walk, how you, like we were going through, and of course, we both were betting against each other just for fun. At 2:30, when we were taking a lunch break, Shujit comes to me and says, Arjun, I just realized this is your natural habitat. I said, yep. And he said, your energy is different. You move differently on a golf course. Your pain is gone. Everything's gone. He said, this afternoon, before the sun sets at 4:30, we'll record your scene. We'll tweak it a little bit, but we'll do the same thing on a golf course. So I thought, really, but I'll do it. But then I said, okay, before we do your version, I want to do my version. He said, what's your version? I said, I don't know, but I just need to have a say. Right. So my wife was visiting with me there, and she, of course, gets very nervous and anxious by saying, what will you talk about? I said, let's have lunch first. Okay. Like she's looking at like 4:30, she's looking at it's 2:45. Arjun, you need to prepare. I said, just calm down. Okay. I called my business partner, Clint. I said, Clint, I need a number. I need a number of words people say, because if the movie's name is I Want to Talk, I want to show I'm the world champion in talking. Okay. So we found numbers, and numbers go from anywhere from 5,000 to 10,000 to 20,000. We took 15,000 words and we prepared 4 lines. Okay. And I also felt that the last line is the punchline that I want to say. Like if Arjun says one thing, last, it has to be, there's nothing called average. Okay. That's the most important thing, that we are not average. Okay. Right. This goes on. Shujit is nervous that Arjun is not rehearsing. My wife is freaking out to the point where she's even holding my hand. And just before the scene happens, Abhishek Bachchan comes to me and says, Arjun, this is what happens, is the light, this, that, you'll freak out, everything. I said, don't worry. He even comes and says, can you take my glasses so we both are connected forever? And I have very bad memory. So just before the shot, I forgot everything. Okay. Wow. And I just went there. I said, whatever I want to, Shujit smiled, one take, it was done. Okay. And it connects to the bigger picture is, in life, we always worry about what we have to lose. Okay. I understand there are certain times you have to. If I am babysitting, let's say somebody's 6-month-old baby, that day I worry about what to lose. Okay. You cannot be reckless that day. But other than those moments, when I went through life when everything was nearly gone, I really feel life has given me this new glasses where I can see things by saying, what do I have to lose? Once you get into that mindset of what you have to lose, literally more options open up. Okay. Like me telling Shujit Sarkar, I have a point of view I want to. Shujit could have said no, but at least right. I said, okay. And that, I think, is the power. I want to look at another moment is in a movie, there's this black cop. Okay. She comes and says, Arjun, race is over. Get off the road. Any other day, any other, the same Arjun would have listened to the cop and moved on. And then I would have met you and said, Vivek, I was this close to finishing the marathon. The cop asked me to leave. But I argued with the cop. I presented my case to the cop. I told the cop, for 4,772 days, be in hospital, at home, everywhere, I have dreamt of this day. I didn't have in my dream anything other than me finishing or me throwing up and in an ambulance. That's the only 2 options. Like that movie ends in only 2 ways. You're adding a third ending that wasn't there. And because I was not worried about the consequence of she putting me in the back of the car, and that would have been option 3, I could push. So I really think that living life not worrying about what would happen if I lose. Because if you look at, there's another sequence where Dr. Savage tells Arjun, what happens if this surgery doesn't work? This would be the last surgery. And in real life, there was the exact Dr. Savage. I love that name. Like, surgery by Dr. Savage is such a cool thing. And I told him exactly the same thing without thinking is, you're worried about it not working. What happens if it works? Arjun can speak forever. And that was the big thing. So I hope that answers your question, but sorry, I just got a little emotional, went in different directions.
Absolutely. No, I can imagine. I can imagine. Absolutely. No, thank you.
So thank you, Vivek, for a great conversation. Truly appreciate. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Truly appreciate this. Thank you.
Thank you.
You've been listening to Secrets to Win Big with Arjun Sen, an acclaimed brand zen with over 30 years of global impact, who has been called one of the most business intelligent minds. To learn more, visit www.arjunsen.com. Share this podcast with your friends and subscribe wherever you like to listen to podcasts.